Alright, so today we're going to be talking about Cobra-Kai Season 5. Once again, I was slow to start Season 5 because I was like, okay, Cobra-Kai, I always forget how good it is somehow. Um, just because it seems like it'd be kind of like a kid-friendly, family-friendly type show, which it is, but that doesn't change the fact that I just enjoy the hell out of it. And this season was no different than the past ones. Yeah, it's so successful because, and a lot of shows are like this. You can always tell it's usually more often than not going to be a successful show if the writers and the creatives are passionate about what they're doing, versus just doing it as a job. And I knew that I always of course had a hunch that the creators and writers were like that because of obviously how good the show's been thus far. But I read an article and they said, why don't you have more of Kreese in there? Why don't you throw Kreese, because he's not in this season that much. And they're like, why don't you just reveal where he's at sooner? Why are you putting it off? And the writer said, we wanted to wait so you had that impactful punch of his return, like how you did whenever he showed up in season 2 or season 1, at the end of season 1, whatever it is. So they're aware enough and what's the word? Just self-aware of their story. So they're like, okay, I'm gonna hold that on the back burner. That way it'll be more impactful when it comes on. They put themselves in the audience seat. They're not just throwing shit at the screen like, okay, yeah, this looks fucking good. They really think it through. They've had it planned out for all five seasons, I believe, or 6 seasons, right? So they've had it all planned out. And so and it shows because it's just it's fantastic. So let's talk about some of the specifics of season 5. I'm pretty much going to be going over every scene. I'm going to try to cut it down, keep this as short as I can. But if I go over and tell you everything that I love about season 5, then yeah, I'm going to be just breaking down every single scene almost. So let's see. At the start, I love that hard, cold realism that we get with Miguel. I mean, some things in the show, to be honest, you do have to suspend your disbelief because certain things will happen just to advance the story. And you kind of have to, I don't know, not think too hard about it, or just suspend your disbelief a little bit. But it's always fine because the show's good enough that you can overlook that. But anyway, Miguel finding out that his father is a dickhead, that reveal was great. And his reuniting with Johnny, him and Johnny continue to be, Miguel and Johnny, the best duo on the show for sure. And you feel that emotional punch whenever Johnny goes back to find him in Mexico with Robbie. So he's trying to bond with both of his sons and that. And that's something I want to say overall for the show too, considering how many characters they have. If you can see the poster, how many characters that they have in this fucking show right now. Nothing feels really cluttered. All these storylines are handled, set up and then paid off later on appropriately. And so everything's paced really well, surprisingly. Jesus, the cast gets bigger and bigger. Anyway, Johnny finding out he was going to be a dad was a highlight of this season. That shit was funny as hell. His reaction to that. Yeah, Johnny's the best character on the show. He's just hilarious. Everything that they have him do. Chosen also was a great addition, full-time addition this season. It felt a little bit forced having him come in at the end of last season, but this season I totally, I'm glad he's here because he's hilarious and definitely brings some life to the character of Daniel, because personally I think Daniel, even though he's the focus of the franchise or whatever, a weak character overall. Just it's Ralph Macchio's acting, or I don't know, how they used to say he's like the villain of the original Karate Kid, right? So but yeah, Chosen was nice to have paired up with Daniel, and all of his scenes bring some life to him. And and you get a little bit deeper with him, some more backstory from Karate Kid 3, I think it was, part 3 and that type of thing. Let's see, Mike Barnes, I believe this was the first time we see him in this, in Cobra Kai, so yeah, nice to have old face back, and I like the way they worked his story in. Even the side stuff that would be a little bit sappy, I'm really connected to the character of, like I said, Miguel, and I really felt for him and his breakup with Sam, and the way they resolved a lot of that. was good. I was worried about it at first. I was like, it might be a little bit sappy for me or whatever, but they did it well. Johnny doing his DoorDash app jobs was hilarious because that's what I do. I do a lot of DoorDashing and types of jobs like that. So yeah, love that. Again, anything that you do with Johnny, any scene, he just kills with just the way that he is. Very old fashioned. Yeah, cool at the same time. Cool in the 80s, but not cool in the 2000s, right? I love the way that they resolve some character conflict here, the stuff with Miguel and Robbie. The way that they set that up back to whenever he was almost like falling off. He pushed him off the balcony, and then they reset that up so they have a fight to where he's almost falling off the balcony. Again, to have that resolution there, not forgetting old story threads, and that was a big thing between them like a season or two ago. So yeah, I really appreciate the way they resolved that there. Also, nice connective tissue here, just mirroring the stories. Like it was a big resolution episode. We had Danny's, is that right? Daniel's wife resolve her conflict with Daniel because she finds an old foe or whoever, somebody from her past that she used to have problems with. And it helps her understand better where Danny's coming from with Terry Silver. Even though I will say, this is again where you kind of got to suspend your disbelief, like tell yourself like all this karate shit is really that big of a deal. I mean, I guess it is to them, but at the end of the day, Terry Silver starting up Cobra-Kai, he's really not that bad of a guy. You know what I mean? He's not like the devil like they make him out to be. If you really step back and think about it, it's kind of like Karate Kid 1, where you're like, okay, well, he's not really that bad, guys. I mean, come on, just calm the fuck down, They act like he's raping kids or something. But, yeah, so we almost got the redemption of Kreese. He gets out at the end and we see him, going through the motions in jail. I love that part of his character where you can't really tell, like, is he redeemable or not? I do think he will be. I was worried that they were going to rush it and do his redemption too fast in this season, but I do think that whenever he gets out, he will be redeemable. It kind of pissed me off the way Danny and Daniel, keep calling him Danny. Daniel and Johnny did him in jail kind of dirty. Didn't give him the lawyer's number. But I don't think that's going to hold back his development. I do think he can be redeemed. But they're just taking their time with it as they should. Let's see. I like we continue to develop Tori's character onto the good side. Although I'm not really a big fan of what they're doing with some of the younger cast, to be honest. Like, we'll see where it goes. But the black kid, I'm not the biggest fan of him. I think he's a dick that they should have gave up on a long time ago. Maybe I'm forgetting some of his stories, so I'm not feeling as bad for him. The Asian kid, I can't stand the way that Asian kid talks. And the girl that Tori was had under her wing or whatever. Just a little bit too convenient of similarities between them. Feels a little bit forced there, if I have to be honest. But of course, doesn't detract from the show. Absolutely, monsterly entertaining, and yeah, just great. Johnny and Chosen combo was awesome. Two of Daniel's old enemies. Whenever they pair up and start talking, I love that shit. And Johnny, Chosen, and Daniel all together made for some awesome scenes as well. In the club and different things like that. They're having fun in the back of the taxi, or the limo Eye of the Tiger's playing. I love that shit. Let's see. So yeah, like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Daniel's character. Ralph Macchio, not the strongest actor. I think he's a wholesome actor, like, in real life, but I'm just talking about the character. But I did like the scene whenever everybody bows to him, and has that show of respect because it is his franchise, and he is the kind of making him the unofficial leader of everybody, of all these different martial arts styles coming together. Terry Silver, I think I already said it, really strong actor, interesting villain, because he has like money and things like that, so he has a lot of power through that. Yeah, they fill in some plot holes from Karate Kid 3 at certain points. I like that. Let's see. This is a show. It's a rarity to have shows like this these days, right? Popular ones, because it's not everybody's tired of hearing it. It's not woke either. I don't think they kind of poke fun at woke things, but it's not in there like you would expect a show to be these days. It's really not. They more so make fun of it with like characters like Johnny's confusion with it, or mismanaging of it. So I like that. Let's see. I'm just going over my notes as quickly as I can. Like I said, all the pieces of the story are set up and then used by the end of the season. I think nothing really gets forgot about and it's clearly left like on a cliffhanger, like with Kreese. I like Stingray's redemption in here. It was a little bit back and forth for me. I felt like some of the characters were a little hard on him. But yeah, I did like how he came in at the end with his 80s references, his Terminator references. You know, Daniel, get with me if you want to live, whatever the Terminator quote was. So yeah, his redemption was all right for me. I was smiling at some moments, and I'm glad that Daniel was the one to take down Silver, of course, because it has been his rivalry from the start. Yeah, Johnny, this is what I'm talking about. It's a little bit corny. You gotta suspend your disbelief, but it's still satisfying to see, so it's fine. Whenever Johnny's getting his ass beat, he should clearly be dead because he's been getting his ass beat for like 2 hours, and then he sees the baby picture and it gives him strength, and he's able to get up and fight. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you know, it is a sweet scene, but he definitely should have been dead. Let's see. The egg thing, I like how that came back in the finale where Chosen was teaching him to defend the egg and then they had to defend the laptop. Yeah, really good connective tissue there with the story. Hawk and Dimitri have a nice little moment in the finale. They just, like I said, even the small characters that don't have like a big thing, they still are thinking about them. You know, nobody's really just like there just to be there. You know what I mean? Everybody has something to do, which was tough, like I said, with a big cast like this. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got. So I definitely think that the ending for this show, they should try to wrap it up. I've heard they want to do one more season and one more movie. They're so passionate about this show. They're actually filming right now before they even got confirmed for another season because they're just overconfident or that passionate about it. Probably both. So yeah, so one more season. I think we will see our group. They never said what the name of their karate group is, right? Because they're not Eagle Fang, they're not Miyagi-Do. I think they're going to be calling themselves the Karate Kids, right? Is that cheesy? Is that corny? I mean, maybe, but I think that's what it's going to be. So yeah, we're going to get to see them, I think, win this huge karate competition that Cobra-Kai was trying to enter in along with them for the final season. And then they said a movie as well. So maybe. We'll see what they do about that. So yeah, absolutely awesome season. Got to give it a 10 out of 10. And yeah, let me know what you thought about it. And thank you for watching. And I will see you in the next one.